High, Low, and No show with
Hajas and Hallro. Yours truly, Hallroglyphics, Eddie Hajas, the Fantastic. We're here discussing mankind madness and humankind's greatest achievements in a bracketed 64-team tournament. Battle Royale extravaganza, winner take all. We have some matchups today we can't wait to share with you. But just rest assured that if it's not today that you hear yours, it's coming up because there'll be 32 first round matchups. That's 64 teams matched up pair by pair for the right to advance and play the next thing. And we know, as we've already elucidated, the 4 players in this. We have Inventions, Paradigm Shifts, Wild Cards, and Discoveries. And, you know, better late than never, and never last. Probably first is Discovery. So I think that's where we'll dive in today, Hajas.
And in this, inaugural day of the tournament, we have some exciting matchups coming out of the Discovery bracket and the Paradigm Shifters. And it's going to be we have some great games on tap today. Just to recap some of the games we have for you. Fire Against Sports.
1 versus 16 seed. That's going to be an uphill battle.
Number 8, Satellites going against number 9, Sailing. Number 5, Petroleum against number 12, Salt. And number 4, Penicillin against number 13, Newtonian Physics.
That's Isaac Newton for those of you at home. He was the guy who had an apple drop off the tree and figured out gravity. And if that's not important right now, Sally, we're going to find out what is
in the Paradigm Shift matchups.
Which one wins?
We have number 6, Mass Production against number 11, Paper. Can you believe it?
Right. Well, mass production is the way of the world.
Paper was the original mass production.
Right. And paper was the original mass production as far as, who knows? What we're getting at here is they don't really belong matched up together. But if you had to have one.
What's the nexus? Number 3, Magna Carta against number 14, Bow and Arrow. Number 7, A-Bomb against the number 10, Medicine Surgery Realm. And to round it out, number 2, Agriculture against everyone's probably least favorite team. Politics.
The most despised, the most hated team out there, no matter which side of the aisle you're on. Politics is a divisive figure. It actually just barged the tournament to begin with to get in the door. It always has a way of doing that. And
why they're important.
Once
like
it tips
you can't
off,
live without us.
We'll check in
you
on
guys
that game.
Will fucking die if we don't win.
It's a competitive
we should
matchup
see.
for 15.
We should win. Maybe they'll
2.
lose, and we'll see if we die.
In general, this should play out much like the NCAA tournament, where a 1 seed or a high seed has an advantage, and the low seed has their work cut out for them. But all of these seeds, you'll find, are so formidable and powerful and very well deserving of being here that anything goes, and any given day, a 16 could drop the 6 and just be a 1. We'll see. Stay tuned. But that's why we're here. That's Hajas and I'm Hallro, and we're really looking forward to some intense back and forth, both in the debate, in the up and down, on the basketball court, metaphorically speaking. So what game tips first today?
So Fire's tipping off against Sports. They're at center court to tip off in the first annual inaugural round of 64 #mankind fucking madness.
Mankind madness.
And
no humankind madness. It is humanity's greatest achievements. We're doing #mankind madness. Follow the action at Hajas in Hallro on Twitter or our Facebook page. Email us at hajasandhallro@gmail.com.
Let's get to the game. They're lining up center court.
I mean, who's starting for Fire?
Campfire is in the jump circle
against
Wilt Chamberlain, and they tip it up. And Wilt, you can't beat that guy.
No surprise,
And Sports takes it off the beat. But I don't know. The starting 5, like what we
you would expect Fire to get off to a very hot start in this matchup.
But they're not. They don't.
Namely,
they don't
Mankind's
tip.
ability to start Fire, though, has had a slow and burgeoning effort from the beginning when they had to use rocks and flint and twist sticks together to get some kind of smoke on some kindling. So maybe they have to burn it up. So sports has the ball, and they're taking it up to the court. You know,
and Michael Jordan has a wide open three, and he nailed it.
Nailed it from Michael Jordan, MJ. He is one of the quintessential sportsmen of all time. Alongside Michael Jordan, we have Wilt Chamberlain, we have Muhammad Ali, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jim Thorpe.
And that guy that ran the marathon in like 32 AD.
Right.
I don't know his name.
Right.
But it's not
the
Prescott.
original Olympics.
I don't know what his name is.
So these guys have the athletic wherewithal to take on fire. Let's hope they don't get burnt. And they have their work cut out for them because 16 seeds generally do. You know, fire has led the way to mankind. They're going to take it down there and set up shop.
Yeah, the warming of the shelter is he's wide open for a 10-point shot, and he nailed it. Like, I mean, fire's been
hard to
warming.
compete if you give fire 10 points for every shot.
They're probably one of the only teams that like can score beyond a 4-pointer at a time. They inbound it. They're inbounding it to Michael Jordan, and he's on fire. And
he's literally on fire. Oh my God, he got too close to the
right off the bat, first half.
Yeah, to the burning bush.
They already
bush
lost
is right there.
Best player.
And Michael Jordan's been evacuated to the infirmary for second-degree burns. It's really hard to play defense against fire.
It's going to be hard to come back against that.
They're going to burn
their best player too.
I mean, if you think about how far fire's gone from cooking food to lighting shelter to taking it to the rim is just warm and buttery. It seems like everything's falling for fire right now.
You don't even want to slam dunk.
You know, sports athletes have had a great run in human's history. You know, they've been a good distraction. In fact, everybody grew up in some capacity being in a sport or trying some athletic feat, from kids running little relay races to raise money, to Little League, to AYOSO, soccer, you name it. Sports is in all of our DNA. It's hard to kick out, and for that reason, they have a full fast break, coast to coast, lay it up for sports. I'm going to give them a 5-pointer for that. Sports has now narrowed the gap. We're talking about a 10-7 range right now. Or they gave Michael Jordan 3 for that, so it's 10-8. Fire is going to not hold the ball too long. It's kind of a hot potato. Fire holds the ball too long, it's going to get too hot. Yeah, it's
game over. I mean, they're up already, so it could be a forfeit battle. But
fire's cooking food, but they're also cooking hot pressure defense. It's a pressure cooker there.
Yeah, you can't even eat corn if it's not cooked. So
right, and
that's another 4 points right there.
Corn too much, it's gonna be popcorn. So just like that, a couple of quick buckets for our friends Muhammad Ali and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and driving for the sake of his pops. I think sports has a bigger bench than fire, but fire has the firepower.
Yeah, that's starting 5. They don't even need the rest.
Sports could just sub in just whoever you want. I mean, they're going to sub in the White Tornado, Wayne Gretzky. They're going to sub in, here we go.
Tiger Woods.
I feel like
with all of his problems, but the Masters starts this weekend.
Doesn't seem to be bothering him.
And he's coming in very fucking
Get
strong.
Joe Namath and Joe Montana on the court at the same time. These guys are real swashbucklers when it comes to the ball. They're throwing it, slinging it around, and metaphorically speaking.
But we have a timeout on the court, and it looks like Fire's going to talk over the situation. They're going to probably put in the spark. But we got some exciting news. Just a quick update in the paradigm shift bracket. We have Magna Carta just rolling over Bow and Arrow in the first half, 40-25.
Yeah, Bow and Arrow just simply aren't on the same page, and they're kind of worthless by themselves. If they, the bow is coming off half cocked and the arrow's a little bent. Maybe they went out last night and had too much fun. So Bow and Arrow really didn't show up today.
Well, I mean, Magna Carta, they're number 4 seed. Have influenced. Me and Hall don't do this podcast today without normal some human. We're not fucking royalty.
Right.
And our message is important for the fucking world. No Magna Carta.
We're no serfs. We're no slaves.
No hashtag Mankind Madness for everyone to enjoy out there. But we do have another game just about to tip off in the paradigm shift
While we
category.
wait for Fire and Sports to come back from a prolonged timeout.
Mass production against paper. How do you see this lining up, Paul?
Well, for some reason, I think the paper cuts have a decent chance, but really, Eli Whitney and John Ford, Henry Ford, they all put together a really impressive lineup that has constituted really a formidable team, and clockwork. Nothing can stop the mass production.
They're top 10 in their statistics.
The supply chain, everything from having Nike coming off the bench ready to give them some boost, and we just have a really hard time living without mass production and factory farming, more importantly, because Monsanto, just Monsanto alone with their, GMO corn and their, yoga mat, fucking bread and all that other good stuff, killing bees, nothing's going to take the sting out of that.
And bottles rounds out the starting five.
Right.
We have their cousin cans didn't make the team for this go-around. Bottles always starting lineup. But nonetheless, we salute you.
You can recycle bottles and cans, but you can't recycle beer and good taste.
Wolf Pup, Session IPA. Best
forward
session.
to fermentations, match up against the Rotund at some point, back to the discovery bracket. But so I'm interested, what's happening over there in Fire and Sports? You said campfire. Everybody's huddled around the campfire. Campfire is the point guard. He's leading the kind of charge down the court, but he's kind of being a ball hog. He's not keeping his eyes up.
Well, he has Spark in the corner.
Spark was in the corner ready to take that J. Now he's been thwarted, and the Spark is dying out. So if the Spark's dying out, is Fire in trouble?
There's a blazing inferno on the bench that could come off whenever they want.
And like a brush fire on a fast break, here comes Fire for an immense swooshing slam dunk over the hillside.
Yeah, and you know what every blazing inferno just starts out as? Spark.
Right, and where there's smoke, there's fire.
As soon as we thought Spark was going out. I think
Sports is smoking right now. Sports is getting lost in a dense smoke. Because Fire is a ring of fire. Yeah. Just like Johnny Cash talked about, they're getting lost inside that.
Jim Thorpe is coughing up a black lung in the corner. They can't even make it down the court anymore, Hall. They're smoked in. Can't see another air ball. Like, what can you do whenever you can't see the smoke, when you can't see the hoop?
Well, they might be good at sports, but they're not good facing eternal damnation.
Yeah, and
some hellish fire.
This game is just kind of getting out of control.
It's what we anticipated now that the Fire's doubling up on sports as a 1 seed. Fire, the eternal fire. Think about that one. The eternal fire that burns in all of us is really questing them to a journey. They said, we're not taking anybody lightly. This might be a 16 seed. We're not giving it any shot. They're going to quench and put out that.
Yeah, they are. And this game is really, it's kind of just over at this point.
Well, it's like when sports opens the door to a fast break or a run, Fire just says, you can open that door if you want, but here's a backdraft coming at you. And the backdraft is just a swooshing fire. It says, thanks for opening that door. You just let me loose.
Yeah, I think we have to switch games at this point.
You can't trade 2s with 3s in Fire. Sports just step it up. And think about all the heroic sportsmen in the history.
Power.
Jesse Owens is running circles around Fire. He just can't get to the rim. They're boxing him out. They're totally swarming him in defense. You're right. He's got no oxygen. They're taking the air out of the building.
We're going to have to move over.
We're going to have to set the fire alarm over there.
The paradigm shifters for the tip of mass production paper. We'll come back. We'll give you the final score of that game, but it looks like it's out of hand. Hallro. Mass production paper lining up for the tip right now. And mass production looks like they take control off the tip.
Speaking of taking control, that's Monsanto, those bastards. They've really taken control of the food chain, haven't they? They sue farmers who use any seeds outside of their own. They get people into, basically indentured servitude to become farmers for their factory nature stuff. They'll be damned, but not right now. They're being rewarded.
They're not. Like
and they're feeding, and Monsanto is feeding the chain. Just think about this whole mass production factory farm. It's just feeding the bucket, feeding the rim.
Yeah, I mean they're prolonging life, and they're probably taking away some years out of life too. But they don't have to answer questions. I've never seen anything be quoted by Monsanto's personally, but they just drove down the court and just nailed a 3 in the corner. And Paper has some good players. They've been around a long time, longer than mass production. Probably the first mass production. Mass-produced the Bible. Only
toilet paper. I mean, toilet paper is a given. People don't live without toilet paper. Tissue paper, a distant cousin of toilet paper, made the squad, but only as the engineer, or whatever, the medicine boy to go get the water or whatever. So, we got toilet paper. It's getting a little. You got to make sure they chose the right brand of toilet paper, which is obviously double ply.
They have double ply Charmin, and they just scored an 8-point bucket right off. Like they smeared the shit right in the ass.
Right.
That's an 8-pointer.
And just like a good teenage prank, they left a bunch of TP on the rim to let people know they were there, which is fantastic.
That's extra
news.
3 points. That's 3 bonus points right there.
Very intimidating for our friends in mass production, but then. Henry Ford just rolled his Model T right off the line. In fact, he didn't stop rolling his Model T off the line.
And it's a fast break. He's just going down.
It's like a layup line.
Uncontested.
I mean,
uncontested. No one can handle it.
They just keep going round and round. They lay the ball up, then Paper turns the ball over. They lay the ball up, then Paper turns the ball over. I mean, that's a quick 15 points right there.
15-0 run.
15-0 run for mass production. And Monsanto didn't even lift a finger. And Nike is waiting to come off the bench with their child labor.
They might just let him rest this game.
It's kind of an up-tempo game, you're right. But it's not necessarily out of hand because Paper brings out the old-timey steadying force of yield papyrus. We're thinking about the kind of paper that came from the Fertile Crescent and also as far back as China when people started using pulp and mash to make things happen. And the thing about paper in general is if you've ever been near a paper mill, like I have near in Washington on the Columbia River, when they're making paper, it stinks. It stinks up the joint.
Stinks of glue, and you can get high as fucking bat fucking shit crazy on that damn glue.
And they're giving mass production a little taste of their own medicine.
They're becoming
we got
a little
sheets and sheets and sheets of paper. Think about what else happens with paper. Currency, paper money. We're talking about big dollars on paper. So
they're making it a game.
They're making it a game. They're coming back forcefully against our friends. 30-28,
closing out the first half.
First half, we're looking for a strong first possession. They always say it's how you start and finish halves, especially in 20-minute halves in this particular
and
brand of
in this last minute, like it looks like Paper's rolling a fat doobie.
Wow, that's what we call dribble penetration.
Mass production is getting a little lackadaisical out there, and we're going to end the half with mass production up by 1 point. Hall,
just 1 point. I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. That's because we're too busy. Still wiping away the smoke and looking through the tube.
Yeah. We got a final. We got a final.
Final coming up. This is our first result.
First result. Yeah. A-bomb medicine.
A-bomb medicine.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah. But we'll run through some highlights. To kick it off.
Fat Man and Little Boy really brought the stuff today, didn't they? Fat Man and Little Boy, the atomic bomb. If you're talking about paradigm shifts, there's before and after they dropped the bomb. They
came right out of the gate too, and and put a lot of fucking people in a position that surgery couldn't even do surgery because they're flatlined.
Right. Generally, in 7-10 matchups, the 10 has a fighter's chance, but this time medicine and surgery, for all the good they've done in the world, with the kind of people we have with their finger on the button these days,
it was an uphill battle from the start. It looked pretty despair. I mean, they dropped the bomb in the first 5 minutes. Medicine just did their best just to waver the storm.
Right, they just pushed their finger on the red button. Dr. Strangelove, how you like that? Atomic bomb is on. They left the fission, the heat, the blast radius of this, basically it was one and done. You know, you can't let the atomic bomb out of its shell.
You can't.
Otherwise, it's all over.
And the first half ended at a 50-20 score.
First half, more like first half life. The entire medicine surgery is it's like, you know, radioactive now.
But coming in the second half, surgery is coming back strong. You know,
with transplants come in.
Transplants. We had some amputations. Surgery is making the game 60-50 with 10 minutes left. They got it. They
removed a few limbs.
They pulled it.
You know, they moved some appendages from one body to another to try and make sure they could field a team. Even
they made a game out of it.
After the carnage of the atomic bomb.
Made a hell of a game, and the A bomb came back with some radiation in the second half. No one predicted those people to die. Like surgery, the surgery
not that
felt
quickly,
like
at least.
They thought they were going to have
radius.
an upper hand there for a second. They start pulling again, once again. But we come down to the last 3 minutes.
The Hippocratic Oath, meaning, you know, you think about it, the Hippocratic Oath really meant that they're trying out there to save everybody. So instead of putting the ball in the court, ball in the basket, they're really out there trying to save their fellow teammates who are just a war of attrition. Really, they were falling apart. So medicine and surgery was really just a triage unit for themselves dealing with the atomic bomb. They couldn't get past the atomic bomb. And I'm sure people are really surprised, you know, that medicine and surgery made a 10 seed to begin with. They should have been a much higher seed, said Bud and Surgery. They got a raw deal. But turns out they were right.
It's just
medicine and surgery is eliminated in kind of a competitive game, but wasn't close. The score is closer than the game would indicate. But yeah, I think the atomic bomb,
a singular moment in time being that impactful.
You just can't let the atomic bomb off.
And Hall, I think
the atomic bomb moves forward as a 7 seed with the right to play the winner of the agriculture politics, which we'll get to in a while.
And I think we need to take a word from our sponsors right now, and we'll be back with hashtag Mankind Madness
and the results of fire versus sports. Also coming up, petroleum versus salt, and to finish off the day, we're going to have agriculture versus politics.
And don't forget currency versus math. All coming up on the Hajas and Hallro High, Low, and No show.
Nay, nada. Do your feet hurt? Does your face melt?
Does your ass bleed?
Does your ears ring? Tell you what, if you've got these problems and more, check us out on the web. We might have the solution for you here at Some Fucking Bullshit. Check out Some Fucking Bullshit, and just maybe Some Fucking Bullshit will have the answer you need to keep it moving.
SomeFuckingBullshit.com. It cures athlete's feet, nose bleeding,
gout, flatulence,
stinky armpits, whatever the fuck you think of.
Presidency of the United States.
We didn't invest in any marketing, but I can guarantee you we have the cure for you at SomeFuckingBullshit.com. And we're back.
The energy has just caught me a little bit off stage when we were at our break. I was thinking about all the intensity that we've witnessed so far today, and
that's why I had to go to SomeFuckingBullshit.com.
Right, we had to look into SomeFuckingBullshit.com.
Fucking get me out of the rut. There was some exciting games in that first half. The first half of some of these.
It's a big day. We're halfway through the first day, and needless to say, Magna Carta and the atomic bomb in the paradigm shift have moved on. Who they are going to play, we'll find out in just a minute. However, we're going to jettison back to the Discovery bracket and check in on fire and sports. Unfortunately, it's not too good news for sports, is it?
Yeah, they're getting smoked out.
They got charred.
And
just like a barbecue.
And they're down to about 3 players. I'm surprised the refs are even letting them continue to play at this point. But it's as
like a wild brush fire, uninvited to anybody's backyard. I think this game of hoops has just been burnt out.
Yeah, it was an admirable effort by sports, but they go home as 15-point losers in this game.
But it's not for nothing. This entire milieu of a broadcast, the entire backdrop of this is brought to you by
sports,
the metaphorical sports.
They kind of had the
and
last
for that
laugh.
Honorable mention Yeah, the last laugh, because sports will be with us like Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi throughout the rest.
But no doubt, fire has the firepower, and they move on. And
pencil them in, yeah.
We're moving on to the start of the tip of the petroleum salt matchup.
Right, very intriguing there. You have NaCl, sodium chloride, versus the bubbling black gold. And this tip-off's going to happen while we're at halftime over there in the mass production paper game, and that's a very compelling game. So we'll check in on that. We'll keep you posted. But for the time being, I think we're ready to see, yield lubricants versus the desiccants, the salt. And I think both of these have had a very huge impact on mankind. But it'll be interesting to see which one brings its A game today.
Yeah, people love both of these.
Well, you got Himalayan salt, you got onion salt,
you also
got
have
rock salt,
potato chips starting today as well.
Potato chips, wow.
He's not coming off the bench.
Known for high blood pressure and some kind of cholesterol problems, salt has gotten kind of they're a bad boy out here. But really, you can't dirty anybody up worse than you could with petroleum. So petroleum really could be like the Detroit Pistons of old. They're the bad boys. They're the people you don't want to get in. They're gonna be slippery and slick. So here we go at center court. We have Valvoline matched up with Castrol and Pennzoil and Mobil and good old John D. Rockefeller, his Chevron company is out there, and that's the starting lineup for oil and petroleum. The Saudis are in the stands. OPEC is watching hastily.
Big backers.
Texas is in the house.
And I don't know. I think I see
more than salt.
I think I see some dollar bills out of the referee's pocket down there, and I wonder if the Saudis placed those down there of just like it's my paranoia nature.
We want to see a fair game here, Coach. Fair game here, ref. So here's a little bit of money to make sure it's not a problem. It's kind of what they're saying, as far as I can tell, underneath the turbans. So
petroleum off the tip, coming down the court, looking for that big bucket. Chevron with their 93 octane just knocks it down in the corner.
Okay,
making your car run clean and smooth all the time.
Every day. Now you're going to see that all the time. It's an automatic when you deal with.
Do they have Tektron? Is that Tektron?
Tektron when you deal with that, but when you deal with any kind of high grade lubricant, it's going to be an automatic. That's the point. Is you want to keep your engine running smoothly, and just like a well-oiled machine. Yeah. There you go for petroleum. Salt is going to have a little bit more of a grainy effect. They're gonna rub you wrong. Maybe put some salt on the wound here. They know petroleum's blind spots, and there it is. They do a backdoor cut and lay it up. So salt evens the game. This might portend to a very good matchup between these two elemental substances that have been so formative in humankind. Legitimately, petroleum is a superpower, but salt.
Yeah, salt's willing. Salt's part of everyone's life, just like petroleum.
Absolutely.
And
so you got ye old petrol coming down. They're coached by Mr. Jiffy Lube over there, Oil Can Henry, and Oil Can Henry's signaling to Valvoline to say, "Hey, drop it in the bucket over there," and there he goes. He goes to pull up J, 5 quarts, 3 ounces. That's a big fill up there for all of us. And to tell you the truth, we're relieved that he's got that jack, because otherwise we think that maybe they were going to suffer a letdown. So Valvoline's brought us A game today. Himalayan rock salt over here. He's going to spice things up. They're doing a little give and go.
We got to take a timeout. Broadcasting difficulties. We'll be back in a sec. And we're live. Sorry about that.
A few technical difficulties. I'd say over there at the 5-12 matchup in the Discovery region, petroleum versus salt. I think somebody's salting the game.
Yeah, they're salting the gears, and
maybe there's an oil spill like those dirty bastards are known for having. They're going to have to clean it up.
We'll come back to that game,
stay tuned. We're coming. It's still a competitive, close game out there.
We're down to the last 10 minutes in mass production paper. Mass production, a commanding lead over paper right now. They picked it up at the start of the second half. They're up 64-55. High scoring game as we thought.
That's true, but paper seems to be crumbling, and it's it's also no good when it perspires. Like a wet paper bag is about as good as a wet piece of toilet paper as well.
Well, that's
They've basically been exerting
but toilet
so much
paper is
effort
absorbing up the water right now, and it's keeping them ahead of paper.
Well, Bronny was injured. Remember, Bronny was injured in the first half. He couldn't come back as the ye old paper towel. So all the perspiration and the hard work that it is to keep up with the mass production juggernaut that it is, paper's really taking it on the chin here. They don't have much of a shot.
No, they don't. And Eli Whitney. Eli Whitney is out there. He's making new uniforms for the team.
Right, perfecting the cotton gin.
They're not even really trying to score. They're trying to look their best right now.
Yeah, the damn Industrial Revolution is pretty spiffy.
Yeah, I mean it's not the trendiest of clothing right now, but everyone's well suited for the game.
And just so you know, Yum Foods has promised that if mass productions and factory farms wins, that everybody wins a free chalupa at the end of this. So,
and they're keeping Nike on the bench. That's good to rest them up for that next round.
All that child labor has worked hard to get here, so they're going to keep it at bay for now. Yeah. Paper is just like a good old-fashioned Rochambeau. They had a puncher's chance, but they didn't come up against rock. I think they came up against the scissor that is mass production and factory farming, and they're just getting cut up.
Cut them up. And, it's just mass production. The final minute.
It's the way of the world.
They're just up by 20. And
it'd be a huge Hail Mary just to even make it close. And, the bidet and toilets, toilet bowls everywhere are really flushing their hopes down the toilet.
Yeah, the bidet's trending up after this game. Paper, they'll probably be in the tournament next year, but mass production is way too much for them.
I can just hear the coach on mass production and factory farm saying, well, this is good environmental impact because people use too much paper. That may be, but watch out for your GMO corn. So more GMO corn comes as we have a finalized matchup here in the paradigm shift. The next matchup we will have on the following day will be mass production versus the Magna Carta, and that's a fantastic matchup.
I can't wait to see it.
Wow.
It'll be good to see Magna Carta.
Human rights versus human bullshit.
In debt in the next round. But shifting back over to the Discovery bracket.
We're finally underway again here.
Let's we have a final score. We're going to show you some highlights.
Oh, right.
Satellite sailing. It was a rocky start for sailing, with the satellite navigation system going down and laughing at sailing.
Right. Well, the satellites got into orbit quick, and they put up some big numbers as they made the atmosphere. But sailing, slow and steady, was having a hard time getting out of the marina.
They came back to the compass and star navigation, got around, and just kind of laughed in satellite's face.
Right. So in their same kind of vein, you have the Vikings and the explorers. Are really hardy, heady men who made sure to weather the storm, take the right tack, go leeward, starboard, windward, whatever it took to steer the bow of the boat and to put their aft behind them.
The Vikings, as they are, arrogant as they are, didn't show up for the game at tip-off. And a lot of people... A lot of people were afraid that they weren't going to come, but they came in the second half. They slaughtered a lot of satellites. That Chinese satellite finally came out of the Sky Hall.
Right.
And the Vikings were responsible for that.
You get what you pay for, is what I tell you.
And sailing's moving on against fire.
Sailing and fire. So that's a little bit of fire and water for you folks there at home. So we'll see what happens. Sailing's is time, age old, but I don't think we got
both time and moral.
Fire is the one thing you don't want on a sailboat. So that'll be an interesting matchup.
And the one thing that is a danger to fire is the water. And sailing might be protected out in the ocean. Are they going to come ashore? Will they have to come ashore? Will they have enough rations? You will find out.
The number 9 seed sailing against the 1 seed fire up there at the top of the Discovery bracket. So we now have completed a few games, and we're starting to see the way that this whole tournament is going to play out. Is that you survive one game and you move on just to play fire. How you like that, sailing? Well, we're going to find out. But I'm still curious. Petroleum and salt, they had that little oil spill back there that they needed to clean up.
Yeah, petroleum's up by 10 after the first half.
It's, petroleum is just been a real world beater. They managed to move petroleum from the Arctic to the Pacific to the Gulf of Mexico. It comes bubbling out wherever you want it. If you stop one person on petroleum, the other person's going to score. It's really hard to contain petroleum.
Very hard.
And just ask ExxonMobil that and the Valdez. And
the refs are up there cleaning up those last couple oil spills on the court. They're stepping to, it looks like salt is actually about to inbound.
They were salting the game a little bit. We could say it hasn't been the best game for salt, and the crowd is getting a little restless.
The crowd's going crazy. I actually hear a lot of crunching. Pringle is on the court right now.
There you go.
And there is a lot of just white noise right now, and they're inbounding to Pringle on the block.
They popped that can.
And the whole can's going into the hoop.
The whole can.
He just emptied the whole thing.
Wow. So
they're back. They're back. They're within a couple right now.
I would almost give him a tie just for that strike of genius. But to tell you the truth,
Pringle's out now. He blew his whole load.
Pringle blew his whole load. Right. So Morton Salt is left to hold the game, and I'm sure you can regale me about Gandhi's kindness of back in India to free them for the oil. For the salt. But
they're up right now. Gandhi made his appearance for the freedom. That's a big play right there.
It won't last long because, to tell you the truth, here comes Chinese oil consumption. They just made a pact with OPEC and the Nigerians. So we're really seeing the second like a line change in hockey, a real second change for here.
It's not that people are
oil can Henry's pulling all of the right all the right moves. And Rockefeller's just sitting back there with the OPEC guys saying, hey, we've got a lot of money invested in this game.
It's not that people are giving up on salt or stopping their salt consumption. It's just the reality is that petroleum consumption is still trending up, whereas salt has just been level for the last probably millennium. We've just been hooked on salt. Our consumption's been pretty it's just been pretty consistent, but petroleum, as much as we want to get off of it,
it's only gone up. You're right.
It's only gone up with nations like China.
Too bad Salt didn't bring Prius, to sign on their team, but until they do, until they get Tesla and Prius, to sign against them, I think we're talking petroleum. Combustion engines from railroads to lamps to. Lamps back in the day, that is, but
yeah, they don't even play on the team anymore.
Right, I know, but, they're legacy.
They are legacy. They are the OGs of petroleum without a doubt. But petroleum on this day, just
what about petroleum
too much.
Jelly? I mean, they really put some petroleum jelly.
Well, I'm excited to see petroleum jelly come off the bench for the next game. But petroleum, they're obvious winners. They're over salt. They are in the round of 32, friends.
And just as an aside, we've had some input on this, and I went and checked the brackets that were submitted as an inside look to this whole process. And out of 16 brackets, only 2 people decided salt's going to beat petrol.
So the question is, are they a race or a religion?
It wouldn't matter.
They're both.
And I think what's going on here is that the petrol is an overwhelming dominant thing. But why would salt have a chance? That's what I'm curious about. Chime in at Hajas and Hallro at gmail.com and or on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah, two of the 16 were 100% of that population. You guys out there watching, you know who you are. Scat.
Brought to you by some bullshit, and
we'll come back. We'll come back with that development later on. But another game just wrapped up. Hall Penicillin taking on Newtonian Physics, number 4 against number 13.
Looks like Isaac Newton couldn't figure out which way's up, and I liked Isaac Newton up until this point. I thought Newtonian Physics is basically not just a science, but also a religion.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Because that must come down, and I think they're falling back to earth. A lot of people thought Newtonian Physics had no business being here over things like, chemistry or whatever.
I think everyone knew that they'd be in the bracket, but they're just going up against a very strong saver of a lot of humans, right?
Right, the humans that have been saved in the millions, the tens of millions, the hundreds of millions.
80 millions to 200 millions.
So, and counting. So,
80 millions.
No more
It's
staphylococcus.
not 80 millions, it's 80 million, right?
Yeah.
80 millions.
But millions of people.
80 millions.
That many buckets. If you just...
It doesn't even sound
it's like
right.
playing Pop-A-Shot,
even sound right.
You know? Fleming over there in Scotland who decided, hey, staphylococcus, I'm getting rid of you. It's basically improved the lives of humans everywhere a little bit more so than I think Newtonian physics has because, the layman can figure out if he jumps off a building, he's going down. And if he gets in a tub full of water, it's going out. So, unfortunately, the simplicity of Newtonian physics and the scientific rigor that it takes to apply it is just getting taken out by ye old penicillin.
Yeah, just matchup problem. But we're moving back. Before we move over to our last game, penicillin will be playing petroleum.
As an 8 seed. No, what is that? As a 4 seed.
A 4 and a 5.
4 and a 5. Huh?
Petroleum just hot today. Are they gonna continue their winning ways against penicillin?
No real upsets up there so far. I mean, if you look at it, you wouldn't call Sailing as a 9 to be too much of an upset over an 8. So pretty much going the course. And we'd be interested to see what the second half or the bottom half of the Discovery bracket does in our next episode. But for now, it's chalk. It's all chalk. High seeds are advancing.
Yeah, and we're coming back to the tip-off for our last game.
I still want to know what it is about salt.
Yes, we'll come back to that. Scat. Number 2, agriculture against the number 15, last 5 in winner, politics, tribalism.
This is the last game of the day.
Who would have thought politics, tribalism was going to be a last 5? They rolled over the periodic table.
Yeah.
Periodic table didn't really show up. Then again...
Kind of a party crasher politics is. It just shows you. So as we get near the top of the game, politics brings all of its ugly and its honorable people.
Yeah.
The last 5 presidents of the United States are in attendance here.
A lot of people hate it.
Running their interns. I think Monica Lewinsky is sitting there wagging along with Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, they're cheerleading the team.
We got three crackers, 1 Oreo, and a Cheeto on the floor for the United States.
Against agriculture, who is a perennial team in this tournament, always top 3, top 4, responsible for culture pretty much. I mean, responsible for politics if you're going to go to that extent.
Well, at this point you think, hey, how did mankind settle down? Agriculture. And stop being hunter and gatherers. They stopped worrying about how to go and find enough food, and they started cultivating food. So they're going to have to cultivate an offense here today strong enough to get through.
Leading to tribalism.
Right. Tribalism. Now, my culture is better than your culture, and that kind of begets a little politics, as you would say, yeah? My aubergine is better than your eggplant, as they say between France and America. So, I'm curious to see when the ball tips who takes control of this. I certainly know that the team that puts it in the basket more wins, and I think politics is full of money. So, if politics is money today, it's going to be a big time.
And they're at the center of the court for the tip-off. The ref...
Body up that big guy. Look at him go.
The ref is getting ready for the tip. And Donald Trump just steals the ball out of the ref's hands. There is no tip. And they're coming down, fast break, and politics. 2 right out of the gate. And for some reason, the ref's not even calling a penalty for it.
In classic political form,
Unbelievable.
1 for you, 2 for me. They go and do a twofer. That's a 2-possession game already because they did a 4-point play on that one. They stole it from agriculture and gave it to themselves, which is precisely what politicians are prone to do.
And the maze is starting to grow out of the floor hall. No one saw that, but, agriculture, they look deep into the future. They knew they were going to be in this game, and Mays is already tying up politician feet on the court. They can barely move out there.
Mays being corn.
It looks like it's going to be a hell of a harvest.
Right.
And
these games taking place in the spring.
They're slowing down the game.
And not when we harvest in the fall doesn't portend well for agriculture, but it's a long game. It's a brooding game. It's a played-out game. There will be many decisions that will have to go before the checks and balances and be brought before a veto.
They want to slow it down.
Rejected. He just vetoed that ball at the rim. Did you see that? That was a Barack Obama classic. He's going to take it coast to coast. He's going to do it all himself like he's had to do for 8 years. Slam dunk. The only guy on the court for politics that could. B-Rock.
And that was a slam dunk of Obamacare. And half the crowd's booing that dunk.
Boo, right.
A lot of people were...
Classic red-blue, because the politics brings with it not as many detractors and haters as it does fans, which is pretty classic for politics. Here comes agriculture. I think, like I said, they planted the seed. Johnny Appleseed is working his magic over there, over Redenbacher as the coach. Decides he wants to pop some corn. He wants to get this ball, rotate the ball around the edges, around the periphery, find the open man. He's got to find the open man.
Yeah, the tomato's wide open.
It's a Jolly Green Giant, Pass look, he gets the right.
He's
pass.
On the block.
Jolly Green Giant.
It's slam dunk. Jolly Green, you can't guard that guy.
Jolly Green Giant's just going to be a force to be reckoned with, although he's a streaky shooter.
Yeah, well, you have the Green Giant down the
somebody's got to body up that big guy
with Jack and the Beanstalk on the other side. They're bookend, big men down in the block. It's going to be tough for politics to handle those. But if anyone's going to do it, you're going to have Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, right?
Wet Willie
with a rainbow jumper. Wow, what a sweet stroke he's got. I think Monica Lewinsky would agree. And it's nothing but net there. He trains it. The rainbow jumper just makes Vice President Mike Pence cringe on the sideline. He might want to call a foul on that one.
Yeah, well, he's cringing with Stormy Daniels too. So it's nothing that's not new in his world.
Hold on to your seat, folks. We don't know where this game's going. When you say we'll be dancing at the biggest dance, Mike Pence doesn't really feel comfortable about that. So. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's a close game coming out at the end of this first half.
Out now. All this other stuff keeps coming out from Mike Pence, doesn't it?
And
we're gonna have a gay old time here with Mike Pence.
And
you know what they say about agriculture? It's either feast or famine. You live by the tree or you die by the tree.
The corn or the tomato, and yeah, it's a famine. It's a famine right now in Ireland, and that's how the first half's going to end. And if the Irish don't figure out that famine, then politics probably are just going to run over.
Wow,
this
politics
game.
is party crashing this whole thing. Wow, who saw this coming? I mean, it's kind of like
number 15 seed,
a little bit of a Loyola coming on here. But tell you the truth, I think agriculture's got it where it counts. It's got the fortitude. It's got the stamina. It's got the growing power to keep moving up, but we're a very slow, deliberate game. Unless there could be some tricks.
They're playing the long game. Right. The maize that's coming up out of the court, not quite ready to harvest, but it's causing problems out there, Hall. And
there's George Bush. He just traveled with the basketball. No one told George W. Bush that you have to dribble the ball. He's just walked with it. Dick Cheney's upset. He's throwing his hands up in the air. Hanging Chad says...
And I think he shot a couple people on accident.
Right.
They're playing with depleted bench right now. Dick Cheney having a blast.
Right. They're having
literally.
They're having a filibuster over there. Having a blast.
Gerrymandering. They're just not getting along. They're just not getting along on the politics.
Meanwhile, let's hope the agriculture finishes this half strong because, they're going to dish the rock, get the rocks out there, till the land. You can see they're setting up their offense in the square and one that puts 4 people around the perimeter and 1 running the point. And Johnny Appleseed is looking for his man, and the Jolly Green Giant is somehow, some way, going to find a way to pound that ball. And he does it, a quick pump fake, a la Hakeem Olajuwon, who was his mentor, and he scores. Puts some green on that thing.
Yeah.
He's got a green thumb for scoring.
Yeah, and time's starting to run out for the politicians. I mean, it's a close game still, but they have to pull out a big maneuver.
Kind of a last minute bullshit hey, count the Electoral College. Don't forget them, because I think, agriculture, they could win. They're easily ahead by 10 buckets. But, as a matter of the Electoral College, I think politics might have more.
Yeah, and
more
they're pulling out a big gun. It's the Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin?
Tonkin, yeah.
The Gulf of Tonkin.
They just
There's
pulled it out.
Hajas with the Gulf of Tonkin.
They pulled it out
the Bay of Pigs,
go up.
the Gulf of Tonkin.
To go up in the game. To go up on the game. And I don't know if agriculture down the stretch has enough to pull this game out.
We're going to have to take this to the Supreme Court and see what they say. But what's this? One of the Supreme Court justices just resigned, and the politicians decided to seed them in. They put Wilt Chamberlain there in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the seeding is the problem. Will that come back to haunt them against agriculture of all teams?
How can we live without agriculture, folks? We're going to be destitute. It's going to be just like that movie Idiocracy, right? Where they can't grow a damn thing, but they got politicians everywhere drinking fucking power drinks and stuff. Brought to you by some fucking kind of bullshit, right?
Yes. I don't know. Agriculture, the maze. The maze is coming up right now, Hall. And
I'm going to give you 10 points just for saying maze as many times as you can. It's really amazing.
It is a fucking maze, and the politician, they're getting trapped in down there. Just another 2 points for agriculture right there. It's
agriculture's
slowly bleeding them out.
Johnny Appleseed's just been unconscious from
drinking the cider.
Yeah,
but that happens every now and then.
Real streaky shooter, that guy.
And it's a tie ball game. The maze is
politics is taking a timeout to stop the bleeding. See what happens.
Yeah, let's go over some highlights, Hall.
Right.
We have Donald Trump downing Stormy Daniels in the locker room. That didn't score many points because it wasn't official, but it's a highlight nonetheless. Bill Clinton.
But now he's got to spend too much time putting his toupee back on, so coach doesn't have him ready. He's got to sub him out. Pretty classic. He's going to sub in Jeff Sessions, that little Peckerwood, Attorney General of the United States. He's a mouse in the house for sure. I'd be careful if they do a switch on that, and somebody catches him in the post. He's in trouble.
So what's coming out of the break? Agriculture up by 1. They're inbounding. What do they have up their sleeve, Hall? How are they going to play this?
They have a rainmaker. They just did a rain dance. There will be no dust storm. There will be no Dust Bowl effect for agriculture this time around. They're going to play on fertile ground and they're going to make it rain.
That's a shame because the politics have created the Dust Bowl, and that rain just might be enough to get agriculture out of this first round.
This is tight.
It's tight. And
I mean, call the action as I do a little retrospective reviewing here. I mean, as far as I can tell, politics wasn't even supposed to be here. And politics,
last 5
just like everything
charged
politics
into the bracket.
Politics is a pretty surefire, loser until you see that it has no business being there, and that's exactly what politics does.
Yeah. The votes are in, and it's your votes. It's out of the 16 brackets that we have received before this inaugural matchup.
Only one person thought the periodic table had any business being there.
No one did. But no one knew politics was playing. We're all over the place right now. No one knew in the bracket that politics was in the bracket.
That's
right?
Funny, yeah.
Yeah. We can't even consult the brackets.
I mean, we want to do some crushing blows to some people's brackets and to bracket busters. It's got to flip a coin there. I mean,
the podcast is completely gone to shit.
It's some fucking bullshit right there.
Completely brought to you by
today's sponsor, somefuckingbullshit.com. And I mean, I think the suspense is killing me. I think this is at a timeout. We're gonna have to come back with a result. Are you tired of dingleberries? Do you think toilet paper is a waste of your time? Well, great news! Some Fucking Bullshit has brought you the Some Fucking Bullshit bidet, a better way to start your butt day. Visit us now at somekindoffuckingbullshit.net.
And stop smearing the spit in your fucking ass with toilet paper. And we're back.
The crowd is roaring here. There's a real intensity about this kind of matchup. Hard to say which way it's going to go. Agriculture has been steadfast throughout human history, and they've really had control of this game. But politics, like the interloper that they are, is in it to win it. They have a fighter's chance, but agriculture has the ball.
They're inbounding. Mays inbounding with 20 seconds to go.
But what's this?
And it's picked off.
It's stolen.
And George Washington is coming
crossing
down
the Delaware River. He's going to hand it off to America's other founding father, Thomas Jefferson.
And we're down to the last 10 seconds.
Ben Franklin's dribbling his fucking kite.
And they're kicking it back to Abe Lincoln. Last 5 seconds. He's looking for the last shot.
He needs an upset from a buzzer beater from downtown.
Oh, shit. Nothing but
abolitions. Oh, my God. He just abolished slavery and agriculture. Politics in the biggest upset has won yet again. It has no business being here.
And they are not going to count the Chads after this game.
No hanging
Hall
Chads.
Road, there's no hanging Chads. It's official.
No recount.
There's no replay.
No justice. No peace.
Unbelievable.
And an unforeseen, unthinkable crowd party crashing.
The white supremacists they're walking out the building. They're not happy. They love politics. They had to walk out on Donald Trump, but Abe Lincoln redeems the politicians.
They walked out and they couldn't come back in
Unbelievable.
when it was time to save it.
They did not think that slavery would be abolished in the 1800s. He comes back. He saves the day.
Needless to say, there was more yays than nays for politics.
The crowd's
at the end
going
of the day.
wild. They are
the
going
crowd
wild.
lost their mind.
Every now and then, they redeem themselves.
All of agriculture's walking out, their heads dejected. No one knows where their food's coming from. The entire supply chain is going to be filled with energy drinks and artificial GMO food from here on out.
Unbelievable. And
that
know who they
paradigm
play.
shift has spoken.
Know who they play in the next round.
Politics.
They play the atom bomb.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Politics versus atom bomb in the paradigm shift. What a matchup. What a round. What a game. And you can think that they advance in what could only be categorized as an even more explosive matchup. Atom bomb versus politics.
In the round of
with
32.
a half-life of some kind of fucking bullshit to come.
And what a first day of games.
I don't know if there's anything else to say about that.
The crowd's still going absolutely bonkers.
I'm hoarse. I don't even know which way's up. The basket seemed to have been tight all day for politics. And then somehow, some way, they ratified it.
We've had some dull moments. That's always going to happen. Games are going to go slow. But we just exploded to end this first round of games. And we're so happy that you came with us. Keep joining in the fun.
I don't know what to think.
Well, thank God for some fucking bullshit for getting us through this. Because
Our proud sponsor keeps on putting us up
got rot in the middle of this, called up some fucking bullshit, and I was able to just power through this podcast and then the fucking ebbs and flows and the low points and you know it's
low points, high points, all points in between, and no point more important than this is the Hajas and Hallro High, Low, No Show. Mankind Madness, Mankind's Greatest Achievements, more yet to come. Just think about that. That's 8 out of 32. That's only 25% of the first round. And if you're tired of listening to it, turn it off and tell all your friends. I'm Hallro. That's Hajas.
We'll be back at you.
Some kind of fucking bullshit to come.